Morning, this is Brian. Today is Tuesday, March 7th, 2023, and I'm here in Rancho, Mission Canyon, here in San Diego, and it's time for a spotlight on plants video today. Now, today's spotlight focuses on a really neat cactus species that you don't find a whole lot unless you really are extremely astute and looking. And as these plants can sometimes be quite inconspicuous, and we're looking at today for our spotlight is we're looking at fish hook cactus, and it's this right here, Mammillaria dioica. Mammillaria dioica is a perennial succulent in the cactus family, not surprising, the Cactaceae, and it's a relatively small, starts off relatively singular, as this one does here, and eventually will form little clumps and sometimes even little arms. As you see here, this one on top of this rock here actually has a couple of arms branching out from the stem. So it's not an extremely common find, and I've only found it a few times. Actually, this is only the second or maybe the third location where I've found this plant. And so what you want to look for is here in San Diego County, you're going to want these sunny south-facing slopes in these more exposed canyons. So we're here on kind of a south-facing slope right now, here in coastal sage scrub. And that's where, especially on these dry soils like this, that often have little chunks of rocks and everything coming out of them, is where you'd be most likely to find it, especially in a more open stand of coastal sage scrub. Because these plants are cactus plants, they're used to being in the full sun. So what we're looking for are these plants with these short spines, very short spines, make them look kind of fuzzy, and they kind of look like fish hooks. If you look carefully, they're kind of brownish color. The ones in the middle are kind of brownish color, and they come out and have a slight curve at the tip. It's going to be very hard to show you on camera, so that's why I had to show you with my finger. But they look like fish hooks when you're out fishing for fish. So this is just one of at least 5 different species of Cactaceae I have seen in this canyon during my short hike here. It will grow with a lot of other cactuses like coast prickly pear, Opuntia littoralis, coast cholla, and there's plenty of coast cholla in this canyon, just none right here. And other forms of prickly pears, and even coast barrel cactus, which is also a pretty uncommon find as well. But I would say the one species I've come across the least amount is this guy, the fish hook cactus. So you notice these little yellow flowers on them. Very cheerful late winter, early spring awakening of the coastal sage scrub after a nice good rainy season has replenished the soil moisture here. So yeah, we're looking at these flowers. They're kind of tubular shaped. The sepals, I think they're called sepals, I don't think they're petals, are kind of a creamish yellow color. And you can see this, if you look carefully, you'll see the stigma is higher up than the anthers where the pollen is. So the stigma is up and the anthers are down further in the flower. So the stigma being the pollen receptor and the anthers being the pollen givers. So like I said, they start out young, and they start out with one stem, and then eventually they'll form clumps. This area is actually a pretty good area to see quite a few of them. There's actually a nice population along this trail. So I'm going to go over to a few other specimens, but I'm going to take a picture so you can see, take a couple pictures so you can see this plant kind of up close. You can see here though, the flowers start grading into more of a creamish white when they get older and they open up a little bit more. So pretty neat. So I'll be back with you momentarily. I'm just going to take a couple pictures and I'll see you in the next portion of the video. So as you saw, a lot of times these flowers will start grading into a lighter whitish color later on. Absolutely incredible find out here. Rancho Mission Canyon. Now I could have sworn I saw one developing fruit on it. So I'm gonna go try to find that plant again. Here we go. Here are the flowers that when they get older, they turn into a more whitish color. Absolutely stunningly beautiful small plant. Now this one you can find in the coast and also in the desert. So it is one of at least 2 species of Mammillaria found in Southern California, only one of which I believe is found on the coast. There's another species called Mammillaria tetransistra. That one I think is more of a desert plant, I believe. But I'm gonna go find another specimen. I think I saw one with fruit on it, so I'll see you down the way. All right, so I found one with a fruit on it. So after the plants are done flowering, you see here, this one's got some flowers still, some flower buds. Then, so these are what the flower buds look like first. Kind of conical, you can kind of tell they're the buds. But then you get this little red thing here. That's the fruit. It's a small reddish berry. So that's the fruit right there of Mammillaria dioica. That little red thing sticking out, kind of looking, I don't know what it looks like, but it's small, narrow, and red. That's the fruit. That's the berry of Mammillaria dioica. And most cactus fruits, I believe, are berries. They're technically berries. But what an incredibly cool plant. This one over here has some fruit on it too. You can see those red protuberances. Those are the fruits of Mammillaria dioica. So it's not, like I said, it's not an extremely common find in my experience. So when you find it, appreciate it and enjoy it. Fish hook cactus. Of course, in the description in the body of the video, I will post a little bit more of a comprehensive range of this plant. But it's really cool to see it. There's a young one right there. So yeah, you get white spines that kind of radiate out like stars, and you get the little fish hook brown one in the middle. So you get whitish radiating spines with a little brown fish hook in the middle. Like I said, on camera it's not going to be so easy to see it, but what a cool plant. And by all means, I'm hoping that by spotlighting these rare plants, these endangered plants and narrow endemics, that I'm not inspiring people to go out and pull them out of the wild. That is not the aim of my channel, is to do that. I'm very, very staunchly opposed to pirating plants out of the wild. If you can, I mean, I'm all for growing them if you can legally do it by finding seed sources online and stuff like that. So I always wonder sometimes if my videos inspire some people to want to go out and yank these plants out of the wild and bring them to their own garden. That is definitely not what I can advocate. I advocate appreciating them in the wild, and then if you can, order seeds online. I believe they might be in cultivation, and if they are, Buy the seeds online from reputable sources that don't believe in poaching plants. I'm very much against that, because I would hate to see this population, or any populations of this plant, to be taken out of the wild for the loss of it growing in the wild. So I'm very much against poaching plants. I don't go pulling plants out of the wild to grow in my garden. If I can legally get seeds, I'll legally get seeds. And I will not rip mature plants or even baby plants out of the wild. So it's just a conservation note coming from somebody who really appreciates seeing them in the wild. I spend much more time seeing plants in the wild than cultivating them. I used to cultivate them a lot more, but since moving from Orange County to here in San Diego County, I haven't really been focusing a lot on my horticulture. I've been focusing more on going out and hiking. Hopefully soon I'll go back to horticulture again, because I do miss growing plants. But again, do it the right way. Don't poach plants out of the wild. Appreciate them, because I know a lot of cactus plants get poached. Barrel cactuses, barrel cacti, and stuff like that. So please protect our native coastal sage scrub plants by finding legal ways to obtain seeds and grow them yourself, because these really make up the beauty of our landscape and the diversity of what is the Diegan sage scrub. So this is Brian, Spotlight on Plants, with a little PSA announcement, I guess. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another Spotlight video.